There's never been a greater need for transparency in politics. Faith in politicians is at its lowest ebb for years. And if they want the trust of the people back, they're going to have to come clean about why they say and do what they say and do. All week, Sky News has been bringing you the Westminster Accounts, a major project from us here at Sky and Tortoise Media, showing the value of gifts given, the full scale of donations to individuals and political parties, and how much MPs really earn. Tonight, we'll do our best to answer your questions and discuss the issues raised by our investigations. I'm Trevor Phillips, and this is The Great Debate. Talk about another aspect of why I think people are concerned about this. Louise Brown, who I think has some thoughts about the way it looks and feels from where she's sitting. Louise.
Is it fair that MPs' salaries are so high while that of nurses and other health workers are so low?
Why is that such an issue for you? Because it's a job. We've decided that they're going to be paid $84,000 thereabouts. Not everybody has to earn the same amount of money, do they?
Nurses and health workers, they're saving people's lives, and are MPs doing that?
Yeah, but in this investigation, Louise, is it just the money that concerns you, or is it the issue that we've been talking about here about the sources of money and so on?
Yeah, I think it's both. How is the job of an MP worth so much more of that, of people working themselves to the bone in a hospital? And of course, it worries me where the sources of the money comes from as well. Yes, it's both things.
Okay. Henry, of course, there's a context for this, isn't there? That actually, at a time when a lot of people feel that they're under financial pressure, the country is struggling in various ways. Whether or not it is legitimate, and I'm stressing it again, there's nothing unlawful here. The sense that money is coming from sources for reasons we don't quite know is not good for politics, is it?
No, I think the public, there is especially in the wake of the expenses scandal, there is an absolutely corrosive mistrust of politicians, and that's ultimately bad for all of us, because most politicians are in politics for good reasons. They're trying to do their best, and if they don't have public confidence, then that's a problem. I think, speaking specifically to the question, one problem that we have consistently had, and this actually I think predates the expenses scandal, is the fact that lots of people don't like it when politicians are paid more money. The original reason that the expenses system became the scandal that it was is because basically Parliament was using it as a way of padding MPs' remuneration because they didn't want to raise the headline figure. We've now got to a point where MPs' pay is actually set by an independent body, but every time that independent body suggests an increase, the MPs all kick off about it. So to speak specifically to the question, ultimately there are only 650 MPs. They have quite a specific job. I actually think, probably not a popular opinion, they're probably not paid enough for the sacrifices that you have to make. And if we paid them more through the official channels, there'd be less scope for the kind of stuff that you've been investigating.
Well, I want to come back to this issue of the level of salaries. Let's take this a little further and talk a little bit about how we understand these donations. Gareth Kearns, I think you wanted to make a point about transparency.
Yeah. Well, how can the parliamentary process be considered to be at all transparent when there's one donor who's given the address of a derelict building, there's another one that is a firm of accountants who are, we must assume, the proxies of the true donor and are thereby maintaining the donor's anonymity. So my question would be, what are the implications of donor anonymity for our country and our democracy?
This is quite a big issue, isn't it, Henry? I mean, my poor colleague, Sam Coates, has been scouring the country, knocking on doors for donors whose names are in the record, but finding empty offices with wet carpets and all the rest of it. It's not good.
No, and I think this is a regulatory problem. Now, it might be wrong because you've been investigating this and I haven't, but as I understood it, actually donor donor anonymity is not allowed in the United Kingdom. There was actually a bit of a furore during the Brexit referendum because it was, for reasons terror-related, allowed in Northern Ireland for a while, and there was a big donation via the DUP to the pro-Brexit campaign. But that was specifically, allegedly, because there was a gap in Northern Ireland. I don't think you shouldn't be able to have donor anonymity of that sort, and if it's currently occurring, that is a failure of the regulator that needs to be policed.
I think the bank account cannot be anonymous, but we don't necessarily need to know who... we're not necessarily allowed to know who holds the bank accounts.
Well, just to sort of identify what the real problems are that we've had, and it is a point worth making that for all the MPs' declarations that, you know, our system is very transparent, it's taken a team of people from 2 newsrooms 9 months to try and make sense of this. I think, you know, Bob Kerslake's point is absolutely right. The vast majority of people, there is this public service, and the truth is that actually on the vast majority of donors, you don't knock on a door and not know who's there. Actually, you can see it pretty clearly. The problem that you've got is that a number of donors do disguise themselves. That's a problem. The second problem is the MPs report how money is given in a bunch of different places using a bunch of different databases and PDFs and whatnot. So it's really hard to actually make sense of it all together. I think the benefit of the Westminster accounts is it does all come together in one place, and then you can begin to identify the ones that simply don't make sense, and then you go out and investigate them.